Hello and welcome to the Grumpy Stew podcast. My name is Dylan. I am your Grumpy Stew. And welcome to the show. We are once again welcoming new members to the Church of Fuck'em. Today offering prayers to Our Lady of Shove It Up Your Ass. And offering prayers to Our Lady of Please Shut the Fuck Up and Die on behalf of our newest members. Amen. Something I've been thinking about, a couple signs that you're getting old or getting older, if that makes you feel better, is one big sign is when you think restaurants are too loud. Let me tell you something. I'm 38 going on 70, and I think restaurants are entirely too loud. What the fuck are you people talking about? What do you have to say that you have to scream across the table to your dinner mate? That's so fucking important. You got to scream it so the whole restaurant can hear what your entire conversation. You are too loud. And if that's not bad enough, restaurants now play really loud music to create atmosphere. It's like going to a goddamn club, which I don't like anyway. And I don't want to hear a bunch of loud fucking music at a restaurant. Call me crazy. Maybe I'm an old fuddy-duddy. But I kind of like to eat in silence. Silence, please. I'd like to be able to hear what my friends are saying without having to constantly ask them to repeat themselves. It's ridiculous. Another thing I've kind of noticed is now that I'm getting old is I can't see shit in low light. I have to have light to read anything. If I don't have light, I can't see anything. I can't focus. I'm turning into my parents. It's frightening. I can't see anything in low light. So that's probably a sign that I'm getting old. And I'm kind of thinking that perhaps as I get even older, my idea of foreplay will be just shouting fuck you at my partner from across the room. You know what? Just fuck you. Fuck you. Oh yeah? Suck this. How about that? That's probably going to be what foreplay is when I maybe in my mid-40s or 50s. I don't know. Well, what I do know is in today's episode, this is going to be a continuation of episode 5, So You Want to Be a Flight Attendant. And if you have not listened to episode 5, you need to stop this episode right here, hit pause, go back and listen to episode 5. Otherwise, this stuff won't make sense. So episode 6 today is a continuation of episode 5, So You Want to Be a Flight Attendant. And today we're going to cover the application process and the process of getting hired as a flight attendant. So just kind of a quick rundown. It's a very long process. Well, at least it is at my airline. Some airlines may be a little faster. I remember, 5 years ago, I guess, I was in such, I just really wanted out of my regional airline that I was working for, that I was applying with anyone and everyone that was hiring. That was mainline. Or I even considered applying at a military charter, because I figured, I'm a military veteran. That might be a pretty good gig for me because I understand veterans and military people. I know what they're going through. And I wouldn't be home and, but I decided against it. I did apply at Norwegian on the United States side of Norwegian, which I think they have at that time they were hiring in Fort Lauderdale. And I, filled out the application, and within 10 minutes, I was offered an opportunity to do their stupid personality test online and a couple tests, and then I'm getting phone calls and emails within minutes. And the whole process was moving very quickly. And they're like, well, how soon can you be here to get fitted for your uniform and do a swim test? I'm like, hang on. I haven't even done any research on your company yet. Ultimately, did not want to be working at Norwegian for several reasons. I guess we can talk about in another podcast. But anyways, but the point is some airlines take a long time. The one I'm at now, I started my application, I want to say in June or July. I didn't get an interview until the end of September. September 29th was the day I was hired. And then I didn't go to training until February 2nd the next year. It's a long process at my airline. Some airlines might be quicker, some might be just as long. So just keep that in mind. So the application process, you need to be prepared and get all your stuff together. That's the step number one, is get all your shit together. What shit do you need to get together? Well, You want to get a list of your residential history for like the last 10 years. So if you haven't moved a whole lot, maybe once or twice, this should be very easy. But if you've moved a lot in the last 10 years, you probably need to go through your documents and write down all of your addresses for the last 10 years. Because if you're a U.S.-based flight attendant, there will be a 10-year background check. They go back 10 years and they look at your history. Because you're going to hold, believe it or not, you're going to hold a security clearance. So you're going to be checked out very thoroughly. So you need to have 10 years of residential history, 10 years of work history. So if you've had the same job for the last 10 years, no problem. If you've just gone to school and never really worked, well, no problem. It should be very easy. But if you've had multiple jobs and been in and out of school or something, you need to have those details organized and ready to go. It'll make your application process a lot easier. You also want to have maybe a list of the countries that you've been to in the last 10 years. You may not need that for the application, but when you go to the face-to-face interview, and if you get offered the job and you might have to fill out a whole bunch of paperwork, they might need to know that information. So just have that handy because you might need it in the future anyway. And you want to have your education history handy as well. Now, do you need to go to college? Do you need a college degree to be a flight attendant? No. The answer is no. This is a very easy job. It's not mental, okay? It's not academic. Sometimes people ask me, what courses do I need to take at school to make me more qualified as a flight attendant? There are also like these really jicky, for-profit, quote-unquote, flight attendant academies that, quote-unquote, train people to be flight attendants. I do not know a single flight attendant that actually went to one of those schools. It's a ripoff. Do not go to one of those schools that will, quote-unquote, train you to be a flight attendant. It's a ripoff. You're wasting your money. They're not going to get you placement in an airline at all. It doesn't work like that. Plus, when you do get hired, the airline you work for will be responsible for training you anyway. That's kind of the law. So just forget about those people. Now, in regards to college, you don't have to have a college degree to be a flight attendant. That's just the truth. Go to school because you want to go to school. Okay? I'm not going to tell you not to go to school. Go to school, broaden your horizons, learn something, expand your consciousness. That's fine, but don't do it because you think it's going to help you get hired as a flight attendant, because it's not. Go to school because you want to go to school. Study something that you want to study. But don't take goofy courses thinking it's going to help you become a flight attendant, because it's not going to work. Okay? So, but you also want to have your education history handy for your application. Now, a big thing with the application, you want to set aside like a good hour and a half, 2 hours to fill out your application. The application is going to be filled out online via the internet on your preferred carrier's application HR page, whatever they call it. You want to set aside a good amount of time to fill out your application. You want to be very accurate, and you don't want to rush through it. And you also want to save your work as you progress through the application. The application could be multifaceted. There could be multiple portions of the application. It's going to go into so much detail of your history. You want to save your work as you go because, the website could time out. There could be an issue, and then you have to start all over again. Now, am I saying it's going to take 2 hours to fill out the application? Probably not, but you want to allow yourself some time. You don't want to be in a pinch. You don't want to have to do it on your way to work or something, okay? So don't do that. So that's the application process. That's just filling out the application. You're going to have all of your details handy. You're going to set aside plenty of time to work on your application and get that submitted. Now, after you submit that application, typically what happens very quickly, if not maybe within a few days, is you have to take a personality test. So let me say that again, a personality test. These tests are typically online. They're multiple choice, or like 100 questions. It takes 5 minutes to do it. You're going to be asked the same, 10, 20 questions repeatedly, but in different ways through the entire 100-question process. So you want to be very consistent with your answers. And what this is it gauges your personality, and they kind of determine whether or not personally you are a good fit to be a flight attendant or a good fit for their company. So you're going to have to tell them what they want to hear. And a couple things they want to hear are that you're a team player, You're very well self-managed. You're flexible. You work well with others. You're a rule follower. You're reliable. You have good work ethic. Why? Why is this important? There are several factors in the flight attendant lifestyle. You got to be flexible. Why? Well, you are not going to be working 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. Your schedule is going to vary every day. People think that we fly between the same two cities all day long every single day. It doesn't work like that. You're going to be all over the world. You're going to be all over the country. It could all be in the same month. Like this month, for example, I just finished at the beginning of this month, I went to Frankfurt. And then I had a couple days off, and then I went to San Diego, and where the fuck did I go? Seattle, and that was a 3-day trip. Now I'm home. I have a few days off, and then on the 13th, I go to Berlin. On the 16th, I go to Zurich. On the 19th, I go to LA. That's just this month, and that doesn't even cover my days that I will be on reserve later this month. It could be anything when I'm on reserve. Some airlines, you are 100% on reserve full-time every month for years. And you're completely at the whim of the company and their needs. So you have to be flexible. You have to be able to go anywhere the airline flies. So for example, in a phone interview or perhaps a questionnaire before you fill out your application is, are you willing and able to go everywhere blank airline flies? That includes Canada if you're a United States-based flight attendant. And if you have a DUI in your history, you cannot go to Canada. Canada will not allow you into their country if you have a DUI. So you have to be able to go anywhere that your airline flies to legally. So if you have like visa issues, things like that, or if you have a DUI, it could be an issue. Why else do you have to be flexible? You could be called at 3 a.m. and asked to go to Paducah, Kentucky. There's that. You're going to be working your birthdays. You're going to be working weekends, nights, holidays, you name it. Okay? We've talked about this in episode 5. Other things that you want to be concerned with is being self-managed. You're not going to be directly supervised every day of your working life. More often or not, you will not be supervised at all. I'll give you an example. I know who my boss is. I met him like 3 times. I know his name. I know what he looks like, but he's never on the aircraft with me. Okay? When I'm the flight leader, I'm the boss. When I'm working international and the purser is the boss because I'm not purser qualified. Does that make sense? If not, leave a question. They want to know that you're going to follow their rules because they don't want to have to fire you after they spend tens of thousands of dollars in training you and getting you ready for this profession. They also don't want to have a whole bunch of problems with you not doing what you're supposed to do. So they want to know that you're a rule follower. But I'm going to digress a little bit. Do not be a snitch. We have a saying in this industry, snitches get stitches. What does that mean? It means if you rat out your fellow flight attendants, you're going to get fucked up. That's what that means. Don't be a snitch. It's not your job to report to management what Flight Attendant Susie Q is doing. That's not your job. Your job is to keep your head down and learn the profession, okay? Keep to yourself. Do what you're supposed to do. The company just wants to know that you're going to do what you are supposed to do. Don't worry about what other people are doing, okay? So followed by your application process, the next step is the multiple choice test, gauging your personality and your fitness for the job. And then followed by that, it depends on the airline. It could be a phone interview. It could be a video interview. And guess what? I'm going to cliffhanger you fuckers. And we're going to talk about that in the next episode. In episode 7 of the Grumpy Stew podcast, we're going to pick up where we left off and talk about the phone or video interview and questions that you might be asked and how to answer them and everything that follows that process. So that's going to be the next episode. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, whatever. Download it from the website, listen to it on the YouTube, whatever it is, whatever your preferred method is. I'm also on the Twitter at Grumpy Steward. Don't forget to say your prayers to Our Lady of Fuck Them. and the broom they flew in on. That's very important. That'll help you get hired. Leave your comments, questions. And for the active FAs out there, I got a question for you. What is the dumbest thing a passenger has ever asked you? We'll talk about it. So as always, I thank you for listening to the Grumpy Stew podcast. I'm out of time. My name is Dylan, and we'll see you in episode 7.